Hello, everyone, and welcome to Civic Engagement. I feel like I should say, and I will be your host for the evening, but I'm not going to. But I will be your professor for the semester. I'm Professor Kelly Crawford. I know I've had some of you in class before, and I have all of you in class now, which is great. And I want to dive straight into the course so that way you know what you're doing, how we're doing it, and what this class is all about. Obviously, it is a tier two service learning course. So you will be creating a project that goes to the community that is something for the community. And we will be talking about this concept of digital civic engagement, obviously, throughout the entire course. What does it mean to be a citizen, especially digitally? Are there boundaries with that? Are there borders with that? Also, why is it that people will be very social online, but when it comes to civic engagement of doing nonprofit work, etc., they still want to be face to face? And how do we transition and change that? We're going to be talking about all of these different concepts. And I always like to know when I'm taking classes what's expected. So this is a 1 credit hour course. So you can expect about 3 hours of work per week, right? That's the readings, the quizzes, the activities, and the community project, whatever you're working on. So just know that. And everything that is needed for this class is in the modules. So all of the readings are there, your activities are there, the projects. You may have to interview or talk to somebody, but everything is in the modules for you. All right. And the final project we will get to, but that is a very large portion of your grade for this class. It's 50% of your grade. So let's get into what you're actually going to be doing and how you move through this course, because some of you might be like, how do we even do this? All right, so I've made some slides so that way if you need to come back, you'll know what we're talking about in each section. So, how to move through the course. Important thing is the class is 90% asynchronous, as in it's all on your time. There are due dates for everything. The day you want to remember in this class is Friday. So, Friday at noon, everything will be due. I also will release the next module on Friday. So, that's always your due date is Friday. Then you're going to meet with me in a group setting once. So, this is based off what project you choose. And we might meet maybe twice if you need some feedback on the project, whatever it may be. But you should know I'm here for you the entire time. But with that group project, we'll talk about, or with that group setting, we'll talk about how that involves the community project you're doing. All right. And the asynchronous is the modules, obviously. So you probably all are module ninjas by this time. But when you come into the class, this will be the first page that you see, which is basically just a quick welcome. And also, these are all the big buttons, right? Like you're going to start here. You can go to the modules, your syllabus, and announcements. I'll talk about what that is for. All right. So you also can obviously go through on the left hand side. If you go through modules, then it will take you into the modules for the course. The important thing is, so this first one, you'll see there's the due date, right? January 25th to the 30th. Remember, everything is going to be due on the Friday. So that's the 28th. All right. So everything you have for this class this week is going to be due on the 28th, which is an introduction video and a quiz. So this week is just getting started. This doesn't count as module one. Module one doesn't start till next week. All right. But this will go through the course. It'll tell you a little bit about me. Then you're going to make an introduction video. We're going to talk about what's expected of you in the course, and this will be your syllabus. And then the quiz is going to be over that information. All right. So then once you get into the actual modules, I wanted to make this as streamlined as possible. So all of them will have the exact same format. So the first thing you do, it's going to be a preheat activity. This is to get all your mind grapes ready and going for what we're going to discuss that week in the course. Right. So this will be some sort of activity that I have you do in order to get your brain firing. Then it will be the key concepts and the readings. So the first part of the key concept will be an overview of what that week is going to be. Now, this is very important. You want to pay super close attention to these blue squares because they are going to tell you what is happening in that page. So this is information, as in other words, you're not doing anything. You are just reading in this. You're going to see that it will say things like discussion post, video, activity. That's going to let you know, oh, I need to be doing something for this one, right? So you go through the overview, it'll tell you how to move through the module, what the focus is, and the learning objectives. And just like all modules, you then just click the next. That's then going to take you into your media links and readings, right? So I'll give you a description. I will have everything linked and housed in the module so you know exactly what you're reading. So I'll say, like, only read pages 7 through 13, right? So that way you have that. After you finish the overview and the reading, you're going to have a knowledge check. All right, so this is going to be a quiz and maybe a discussion post, something, but it's going to be over the readings that you just did and the overview on the module, right, of the key concepts that are there. So you'll take the quiz. Then what you have after the quiz is going to be an announcement page. This is where I will post videos every single week, things I'm observing, questions that students have had, whatever it needs to be. This is like our discussion that we would have in class together. Like after class ends, and you know how you stay back and you have like all these questions. That's what this is going to be, right? So if I'm noticing something, anything along those lines, I'll put that in the announcement page video. Every single week, there'll be a new announcement. All right. Then after the announcement page, you then, again, blue square is your friend. This tells you, oh, this is an activity. So you are going to have an activity after that announcement. It'll give you the very, very specific details of what you need to do. And every single assignment you get for this course is going to say the success criteria. All right. The success criteria is specifically telling you what I'm going to be grading you on. So that way you always know how to be successful in this class, right? And then it will give you the breakdown of the activity and what you need to do for it. All right. And then after that, after your activity, you then will have a discussion board for questions. Think of this like an FAQ. So if you've had a class with me or currently, I am very into communal learning. I think it's the best thing ever. So this discussion board, you can have, if you have questions about like, how do I make a video? How do I do this? How do I do that? You can put them here, then I can answer them. And that way, if you have a question, come to the discussion board, see if someone's already asked that question and if there's an answer to it. All right. With that said, anything that I ask you to do in this class that involves tech in some way, shape, or form. So, for example, that first week in the Getting Started module, you have an introduction video where you need to make a video that you put in your post. Some of you may say, I have no idea how to make a video in Canvas. Well, I have it right there, a tech video of how to actually do this. So when I give you something along those lines, I will make sure that I provide the information of how do you actually do it when it comes to tech. Okay. So that is how you move through the course. All right. So this gets into probably some other questions, such as what is my grade? So your grade is basically it's three parts, but it's really two parts. All right. So your quizzes and engagement activities, which remember you will have every single module, is 30% of your grade. Discussion posts and reflections, you're going to have probably every single module are 20% of your grade. So 50% of your grade is the homework that you're doing each week in the module. And then 50% of your grade is the community project, right? That's a big, big portion of your grade is that community project. All right. So if you broke that down, what your assignments are going to be for this class, quizzes, engagement activities, discussion post reflections, and community project, right? That's going to be your activities. So let's talk about what this project is, just so you know what you're getting into. Mind you, I'm going to give you the very quick, very superficial concepts of these projects. When you choose your project, which will be in module 4, then you're going to get into the depths of it. But I want to give you like a short overview. So the first one is called content creation. And this is exactly what you're thinking. So content creation is where you are going to create content for a nonprofit. Here's the fun part. All of you are going to be working with Vianola V, which is a multimedia publication alternative journalism platform, right? And so it is a nonprofit in itself. So if you write anything for New Orleans and you post it and put it on VNOV, which you will, you are doing your service because you are putting that out to the community. Now, we are going to go double dip because you also can cover a nonprofit that's doing really great. Write on them or create content. And this can be any form text, it can be media, it can be photos, it can be memes, it can be lots of things. And then you publish it on VNOV, which I have all in the modules. Now you've got a double whammy. You're covering something that's happening in the community of New Orleans that's doing an awesome job, and you're publicizing it. So you're giving that nonprofit exposure and you're giving VNOV content. Double win. And like I said, these can take on various forms: photography, video, text. It can take on any form. All right, that's the first one. Second one is content curation. I 100% recognize and respect that not everyone is creative. And so I have this one is more along lines of if you're super analytical and you like to tie things together, this is like an editorial position. So you'll be working with VNOLA V, the nonprofit, which has over 7,000 articles published. So you would be coming up with a way to curate. So you may get a couple weeks, a month, a week. We'll talk about when we get into the project. We're going to be like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do an entire curation around why we wear sweatpants even in the summer. And you're going to pull all of these different stories that would give information about that, right? Or why is driving so terrible in New Orleans? And you would pull all these different stories and you would curate them together under that idea. So if you're thinking about going into editing or anything where you have to do this kind of overarching concept, content curation is perfect for you. Then, third one, media archiving. If you love organization and you love organizing and putting everything in its place, media archiving is probably for you. So, there's a couple projects that fall under media archiving. Number one, we work with University of New Orleans documentary film students. We give them nonprofits. They then make a documentary on it. And so your job would be to take that from Dropbox, put it on YouTube, and also transcribe it because we like to involve everybody. Some people like to learn with audio. Some people like to live with visual. Some people like to learn by reading. So we create a post that will be on VNLV of all those things for the documentary. The other thing this can be is we have, I don't know, 50,000 plus photos in the back end of VNLV. So you would be tagging them, labeling them, same with articles, right? Some of these articles aren't categorized. So it's much more like archiving all of the media that's already in the back end. All right. Fourth project, development and fundraising. This is if you are great at getting money from people. First of all, congratulations. We need to help nonprofits because they don't get enough money from people, especially if they're not part of the nonprofit industrial complex. We'll talk about that. And so, with this fundraising, we're going to focus this around Give NOLA Day because that's one of the biggest fundraising time periods for nonprofits in New Orleans. So, we're going to focus around that day, and you would create an event for Give NOLA Day in order to get money for these nonprofit organizations. All right. And we'll talk about that specifically once we get people in groups. And then the last one, number 5, is online research. So this is going to fall into 2 categories: newsletter, social media. All right. So this idea is, I don't know about you all, but when I get a newsletter in my email, I'm like, delete. And so we're going to talk about how do you get a newsletter that's actually engaging? What makes people be engaged with a newsletter? And you will create a newsletter for the nonprofit in order to get people active and interactive with that nonprofit. The other side, social media. Why is it that some social media influencers have 1.2 million followers, quotes by Christy, and yet these amazing nonprofits who are doing this great work for the community get like 1,000? So looking at what is it that the influencers are doing, what colors are they using, what templates are they using, what's their aesthetic, using that for a nonprofit to help them fuel some engagement digitally with that. Okay, so those are the 5 projects, and that is a pretty quick overview of this course. What you want to know though is for this week, go into the modules. The only module you're focusing on is the getting started. Move through each one of these, right? And that is the first thing that you have to do. Remember, Friday is super important. So the 28th is when everything will be due in that getting started module by 12 o'clock the afternoon. All right. Let me know if you have questions. I'm so excited to have this class with you all. We're going to get everybody digitally, civically engaged. That is such a mouthful, but I can't wait. And I can't wait to meet you all. Thanks very much. Bye.